KG, thank you so much for speaking to us. Um, must be exciting for you getting back into the swing of things. Tell us about how it's going to be back in the camp.
It's great to be back in full flowing camp. Obviously, the England camp was a bit stop-start, so it's nice to be in a full flowing camp where you can really put some good work in, gearing up for what's going to be a hard test match, and just being around the guys again, and getting into that spirit of competitiveness and playing again. So it's been awesome.
You're looking very athletic as usual. How's the body feeling after coming off an injury?
The body is feeling good. Yeah, it's just something that I have to manage over time and not let the same things happen over and over. So yeah, just about managing my body, but I feel good at the moment. Taking it one step at a time.
Test cricket obviously is something really exciting. Everybody's favorite format. Is Test cricket your favorite format, and why?
I think it is my favorite format because it challenges you in every way, and it challenges you on very different conditions as well. Whereas these days in one-day cricket, pitches are kind of like the same. You have high scoring games quite often. And not to say that I don't love one-day cricket and T20 cricket. I think they're great for the game, but I think Test cricket is my favorite. It just challenges you, especially when you're playing in different countries, the weather, the conditions, and it's just quite interesting for me to see how it all unfolds. Sometimes you're chasing the game, sometimes you're on top of the game, and sometimes it's even, and you have to work out ways to get on top, and the other team is doing the same thing, and it's kind of like a thrill, it builds up to such a climax, and at the end, after all the hard work that you put in, especially when you've won, it's extremely rewarding, more rewarding than winning in any other format.
How challenging is it from a mental aspect?
Mentally, it is very challenging because you're playing international cricket, and naturally you're going to have to raise your intensity. Naturally that happens, and the intensity is always up, and so you'll find that mentally at the end of every day you're blown. So not only physically but mentally as well, because of the intensity that you put your mind through. And it happens naturally, and sometimes you actually have to gear up, so it's not about just staying on one gear, and that means gearing up means lifting your intensity by much more. So I think physically, mentally, and I mean mentally can be tactically. And also, when you're behind, how do you deal with that? When you're on top, how do you deal with that? So I think as much as it is physical, I think it's more mental.
How do you think COVID-19 is going to affect this? Because you weren't able to play the Sri Lanka Test tour in South Africa, so this will be your first Test series after COVID-19 struck, and with all these conditions, you're in a bubble, you have to play Test cricket. How do you think it's going to affect the output?
I guess when we start playing, some people will have their preferences over whether they like a crowd or not. Obviously, the crowd brings in that excitement, and they bring in the theatrics, and they add on to the theatrics and the drama. And it's always nice to have people who cheer you on. But I mean, at the end of the day, for me, it's competitive out there, and we're playing cricket, and the other team is extremely competitive, and I don't think it changes much really, because the competitiveness naturally gets us going as athletes, or rather me. So you're playing a game to win, in good spirits as well. So I don't think anyone is going to drop their intensity, but the crowd just adds that fun element, the theatrics, as I said. And we will definitely miss the crowd, especially one in Pakistan. Um, you know how fanatic their fans can be. But other than that, like I said, the competition, I think, will speak for itself.
Let's move on to playing in Pakistan. This is your first trip to the country, I believe. What has it been like for you, just from firstly the travel requirements, and then also landing and experiencing how tight the security has been? I know that a lot of people found security as a concern. When you landed and you experienced everything, how has your perception of security concerns either changed or not?
I have a lot of faith in the security. Hearing about it is definitely the way that it has been implemented from my experience. So I think I feel quite safe. I feel as if I can just focus on the cricket. I think the PCB have done a great job in ensuring that we are safe. Hats off to them. It's obviously not an ideal situation, and COVID is not an ideal situation as well. But you know, they made it work, and I'm glad to say that I've had a chance to tour Pakistan, because you know they hold such a prestige in international cricket, in the history of cricket. So the guys are really excited to be here. I mean, I've been to actually every country, and this is the only country that I haven't been to. And like I said, you know, they've had some greats of the game who've come from these parts, and it's just nice to be in the area where they've all come from and to play against this team in their home conditions.
It's obviously not happened in your career, having played Pakistan at home, and that's going to be something different for you to experience. What are you expecting from the home side?
I'm expecting Pakistan to come fighting. That's one thing that they do. They've got some good players. So it's not going to be easy at all. I know they're going to fight. They've got some good bowlers, good batters, and it's definitely going to be a test match. We're going to have to earn the right to win, or test series. We're going to have to earn the right to win, and I'd love to go back home with the series trophy in the bag.
South Africa's previous test tour to Pakistan, they won 2-0 here in Pakistan in 2007. Obviously, there was a completely different team in completely different times and conditions. But knowing that the last time that the two countries met up came out South Africa's way, does that give you a little bit of confidence, or just a little bit of something to look forward to, and think that it is possible for you guys to come out with a win?
We know that we can beat any team in the world. At the moment, we are in a rebuilding phase, and I think our future looks extremely bright. The fact that a South African team has toured here and won before, I mean, will give us some moral victories, mental belief that we can replicate the same performances that they have in the past. But at the same time, it's a totally new challenge. We are a new team, a building team full of some young energy, and it is really exciting. And I can't wait to play, and we definitely have the belief that we can do it. Yeah.
You've just spoken about the young energy. There's definitely quite a lot of new faces in this team. What's the gelling process been like, considering the fact that it's highly unusual for the team to travel with such a large number of players?
I think it's great, especially in the bio bubble where you have quite a lot of players. I mean, staying in your room and not having such a big squad could get a little bit demoralizing. So it's nice to have the guys on board, and it also gives some guys opportunity to be within this environment and to experience the intensity at which we work, and the mental processes at which this environment forces you to adopt. Um, so it's also just regarding that we are a building team. It's fantastic that guys can be in this setup so they can have a proper taste of what it's like to play international fixtures and be within an international setup. I think it only holds our team in good stead for the future. But socially, I think it's great as well. There's good banter amongst the guys. We're getting to know each other more. We're chilling. We chill with each other. I mean, whenever, and yeah, I think it's great for the camaraderie. Feels like boarding school.
And what have you sussed out of the conditions? You've had 3 practice sessions now. The weather, having a look at the actual wickets that you've been practicing on. Obviously, you're not practicing at the actual match ground as yet. But what have you sussed out of the conditions, and what are you keeping in mind for keeping in the bank for match day?
The practice squares that we've been playing on have been keeping low. There's not much lateral movement, especially when the ball gets older. So we're suspecting that reverse swing is going to play a role. The batters have had to adjust to the ball, not bouncing as much as it does in South Africa. I mean, there's always a challenge. If it's not bouncing as much, then it's going to stay low. So they're going to have to adjust. As the bowlers, we're probably going to have to bowl straight to lines. I mean, this is cricket 101. Have to bowl straight to lines. There's not much lateral movement. So we're not sure about how the venue is going to play like, but we have an idea. So we'll just have to see what is offered to us when we get to the stadium.
And in terms of just looking forward to the entire series as a whole, what are you guys going to have to do to maintain fitness? I know a lot was being said about Sri Lanka when they came to South Africa. Quite a few of their bowlers broke down. What are some of the physical things that you're going to have to look after to make sure that you stay in tip-top condition?
Well, I think we've been preparing well. I think the bowlers have been doing their strength work, their flexibility work. I mean, the game has become so professional these days that you have fitness trainers who come with a lot of assistance when it comes to keeping your body right and being on the park. And everyone, all the bowlers, and also all the batters as well, all the players, they definitely do take it on board. And because of how professional the game has become, it's almost like a norm to actually put in quite a bit of work in the gym, whereas probably in the past it wasn't as emphasized. But there's a whole lot of data that is being collected, especially from the bowlers. So we've been doing that work. So we just got to hope that it pays off. But I mean, when you are in the game, you can't be thinking about whether you're going to get injured or not. I certainly feel, I speak for myself, that I've put in the work and it can only benefit. So I think the same goes for every other player. We've been working hard when it comes to our fitness, and I think we should be okay.
And it helps that the weather's really mild. It's been really good weather outside. It's not that extreme heat that one expects in the subcontinent. Does it help that we're here in Pakistan during the winter?
It definitely helps. It's not as hot, and you can conserve a lot more energy because the heat it drains your energy, and constantly have to be hydrating, and constantly have to change shirts, and I mean, it just saps your energy extremely quickly. So it helps that we are in the winter here in Pakistan. The weather is actually quite pleasant, if you ask me. It's not that bad. It gets hot, but there's still a bit of a breeze. It still gets pretty hot, but it's still a bit of a breeze. But I think what helps is that the guys have been playing cricket and long format cricket. So perhaps if you have a look at the Sri Lankan setup, they probably weren't playing a lot of long format cricket, and that was probably a determining factor of why they had so many injuries. So I think we've been playing, and I think we're good to go. We're nicely cooked.
And finally, what would it mean to you to come out of here with a series win?
It would mean the world. I mean, we've just won against Sri Lanka, and the guys have taken a lot of confidence out of that, and it's our first time touring Pakistan, and it would be nice to leave with a win, and climb up the ladder in the Test championship, and to restore, even more confidence, because we know the capabilities that we have as a team and as a country. So we just need to start showing that again, and just building on that. So it would mean the world.
Sorry, one last question. Can we expect to see a little bit of that classic Kagiso Rabada aggression?
I don't know.
Talk to us about just playing aggressively in cricket, and why for you that's such an important part of your game.
I think it's more like impulsive, no disrespect to the opponents, but I think it's just an impulsive habit. Maybe I guess sometimes I've crossed the line a little bit. That's just the way I always play. Obviously now with the rules, it seems like I never learn, but I'm gonna have to learn, right?
Thanks very much for talking to us, KG.